Oh,
Say goodbye to Tyler, everybody.
Dan will be walking in and making his appearance probably in like 20, 30 minutes or so. So
Tell Dan I love
he loves you too.
him. Yeah.
They have such a bromance. It's great.
It's adorable.
I love it.
Their love language is reels.
Oh yeah, he tells me all the time. He's like, I sent Dan this reel, and like Dan
Yeah.
sent me this reel, and I'm like, is that all you guys do? Is just send each other reels?
Yes, because I'll send him one or I'll show him something funny and he's like, ooh, send me that so I can send it to Tyler.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know. I'm like, you guys are adorable.
Oh, that's funny. But no, I was like, I had to hit record because Tyler was like, I'm hurrying up to get out of here. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna embarrass him. You're welcome.
Yes,
So everybody
again,
gets to see
buddy.
Tyler today. But no, we were just talking about how I had the week off last week. I went on vacation and to just a cabin up north with Tyler's family, and it was amazing. I didn't work, I didn't do anything. I read a book, I sat on the beach at the lake, went paddleboarding, kayaking, took the girls fishing. They had so much fun. His mom put together a bunch of stuff for everyone to do. Like it was so much fun. So we're gonna do it again next year and take the time to take
Yes.
time off because it is important. And I made a post about that today too, because it was just like I don't do this enough for myself. And so I know everyone else doesn't do the same thing.
Yeah.
But so I have a question and I'm dying to ask it to you because someone asked me this the other day. It was a couple weeks ago, but I just thought about it and I was like, oh, this would be so good to ask on the podcast. But do you think it is easier for women to turn pro than it is for men?
In what division? All of them combined?
Any, any division.
I would say, I would say yes for the specific reason that open division, it's not every national show that they can turn pro in. So I would say there's fewer opportunities for men in the open division. Now, I would say for men's physique, all the other divisions, no. I would say it's probably about the same. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, I would say in regards to men's open, like that division removed, I would say there's the same number of opportunities.
Mhm.
Class sizes are about the same. The only thing I will say, well, yeah, because even like the men's super heavies, hey Carolyn,
Hello.
Oh,
Oh, we can
um,
hear you
like in the men, like every weight class, they give out a pro card for the men's open. So
now.
I would
Mhm.
consider that like, there's different degrees of that. So then you've got, like figure, women's physique, those classes are less competitive in that there's less competitors.
Mhm.
Um, and I would even say, like, this is just my personal opinion. I do think that figure and upwards are less competitive in general. Like, it is harder to earn a pro card in like bikini than it is figure. Um,
I agree with that.
yeah, not even just because of class size. Like, I don't know, just from what I've seen, like, I feel like in figure, it's like there's a few classes that are there'll be like a few height classes that are super competitive. You're like, holy
Mhm.
shit, the first call out is crazy. But I feel like a lot of times, like they don't come in shape. Like sometimes the bikini girls are actually not sometimes, a lot of times the bikini girls are even leaner than the figure girls. Not all of
Mhm.
them, of course, but I would say like that first kind of call out. This is just from my personal experience at national shows. I'm sure it varies from show to show. So I would say like it's easier to win a pro card in those divisions just because it's fewer competitors because it's a much bigger division muscularity wise, and for women that's a lot harder to get to.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I would say I would say open men's bodybuilding is in a class all of its own because the pro card opportunities are not available at all the national shows.
There's
So
only
there's
what,
fewer chances.
four?
Huh?
There's only maybe like four shows.
So nationals, North Americans, USA's, and then the Olympia Amateur and the Arnold.
That's right. Yep. So there's 5. Unless it's like masters, but we're kind of like excluding masters in there.
Excluding masters, yeah. So
yeah,
just
excluding
the
masters.
junior USA's, junior Nats, they have men's open. They just don't give
Yep.
out pro cards.
They do not give out pro cards. Yep. Okay. So Carolyn, to catch you up, we had just started when you came on. So I had been asked this question the other day, well, not asked, but someone at my gym was like, they're like, "Oh, you're a pro." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm like, I got my pro card." And they're like, "Well, isn't it easy to turn pro for women?" And I was just like, "Okay, then." Like just so nonchalant. Like it's just so easy, to turn pro. So my question was, is it easier for women to get their pro cards than it is for the men?
I mean, certainly in the States, it's easier because we have more opportunities than international countries.
Yep.
Particularly like Canada would fall second. But I definitely wouldn't say it's any easier or even to pick any national show that is easier over another. Yes, you do have the opportunity for first and second place at certain shows, but at the same time, the competitiveness that is at the national level that it is right now is ridiculous, and it only gets harder every single year. Now, for like men versus women, I mean, sure, there is that ratio against you, but then you also have to think is how many men and women do actually compete in the pro league after they get their pro card? It's not very high. So
Yep.
it's like, okay, you can win your pro card, but like what matters is how competitive are you in the pro league? And
Yep.
most 9 times out of 10, it's going to be those rare unicorns that actually do well. Most people have to start at the bottom again and then work their way up. So.
I know that feeling. But no, I just was curious. Like I had been thinking about it and it just came to mind and I was like, oh, this would be great to talk about on the podcast. Cause like both of you guys brought up really good points about like, even just not even talking about class sizes or anything like that. But like, if you think about it, like bikini, there's way more bikini girls, but the muscularity is less versus like women's, like all the way up to women's bodybuilding, more muscularity. Very few women can get to that muscularity, but also like there's less competitors overall there. But then like when you look at the men, they only have 3 divisions versus women have what, like 6 now or something, 7.
Yeah.
Like we have so many women and we can spread them out so much further. So like the guys, like they have way less divisions, so there's more competitors, but I think overall there's more women bodybuilder competitors total, if you think about it, like in the whole league. So it just is a curious question to bring up, and I feel like you can't really say like yes or no to either because like there's different things for each, like men and women are totally different, like hormone wise. Like women can't get muscle like men can, but also there's like men that just don't really grow that well to begin with. Like we've all seen the dude who's got tons of gear and stuff and like he's still small, so it's like it just kind of goes hand in hand. So it's kind of like, I guess, a horse apiece, like about how hard it is to turn pro. It's just how hard is it individually for each person. And like, with competition wise, like Amanda, like you were saying, like certain shows can be more competitive than others. And especially like in my division in figure, I feel like this is kind of like where things start to turn, as far as like for the women's, like what you were saying, like not very many women can even get to figure, but like also in figure, even at the national level, not a lot of girls come in like super great shape. Like the first few shows of this year, to be honest, like looking at junior USA's, junior Nats, and even no, Universe was better. But junior USA's, junior nationals, I looked at them like the winners and stuff, and I was honestly not super impressed. Like the overall winner looked great at both shows, but beyond that, like beyond like second maybe place of each class, it was just not anything really great. You know what I mean?
I feel like too, I want to clarify one thing is that I feel like the amount of work it takes to get to figure is a lot more than obviously like bikini because you need a lot more muscle in figure than bikini. So I shouldn't say the work is a lot more. I guess it really, honestly, it depends on your genetics. Like some women grow
Mhm.
out of bikini very easily. But I would say
I
like,
could never even be in bikini.
I would say for the most part, if you have two people starting from zero, it's going to take them a little longer to fit figure criteria than bikini, right? Just from
There
like
we go.
a
Yep.
muscle density standpoint. But I would say if you have two ladies showing up at the national show and both girls are in shape, both girls have the level of muscularity that they want for the division, the figure girl is probably going to be more likely to turn pro than the bikini girl.
Mhm.
Because, and I think honestly, the part of the problem, this is just, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I feel like the conditioning in figure has slipped because it can. Like
Mhm.
in bikini, you cannot show up out of shape. You will be in third call out. You will be in shape and get third call out.
Mhm.
And in figure, that's just not the case. Like if you have really good shape and muscularity, you can kind of show up out of shape and probably still win if it's good
Mhm.
enough. Not like sloppy condition, but in
No.
bikini, you could have everything perfect. And if someone like it's just there's zero question that you cannot show up even a little bit too soft. You will be boop 20th, like immediately.
Yep.
Um, and that's just like the baseline. And I think because of how many girls are in bikini, I mean, it pushes everybody. Like we all, like
Yep.
everyone knows you cannot show up fucking not right. Like it's just, you have to have tie-ins. You can't, like, I rarely see someone at a national show with no tie-ins, like hardly ever. I see figure girls without tie-ins all the time.
Yeah. I see like there's figure girls all the time that win that like especially national level that you can barely see their quad lines coming in. And like but there is that jump then from national level figure to pro figure that is like
Oh yeah.
immense. Like that's what I've experienced is like and like granted my first show as a pro was like not the greatest, so like I can't really base it off that experience, but just watching things evolve with figure is that you might be able to turn pro a little easier in figure, but once you are a pro, like what Carolyn said, like a lot of people don't even compete after that. I know so many girls that turn pro in figure that do not compete anymore. They turn pro, they maybe did one show and then they were like, I'm
That's
done.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of like what it takes to keep being good at figure and to keep being at that top level, because I feel like that distance from turning pro to being good as a pro is very deep compared to like maybe in bikini, like you can be in really good shape in bikini, get your pro card, and like you could go step on stage again, you know, maybe that same year and still do pretty well. You
the
know,
other
because
thing
there's
with
not really much
Not
growth.
anymore.
I know
Yeah,
Bikini
you
is
know, it's
fucking
just
huge.
interesting. It's
huge.
very interesting. What were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Carolyn?
No, the other thing about figure, I know this sounds bad, but it's also you can hide like muscle density through fat. And it's also
Mhm,
it's because of the shape. So like even when
mhm,
like Amanda was saying about not seeing tie-ins in the backside, well, they're gonna look at figure and then be like, well, she has shape, she has muscularity. And it's like,
mhm.
well, she's actually just fat. Like, let's just be honest here. And the same thing, goes for wellness is like you do have a big differentiation between the pro league and wellness versus
Yep.
who you do have at the amateur league. And I feel like those judging criterias could be updated, as in like what can we improve at the amateur level, knowing the expectations are at the wellness level, at the pro league. So it's like, hey, why don't you just catch it before it starts and demand more of the athletes by being a little bit more stricter, maybe not like rewriting the rule. You're not rewriting the rules in any sort of way. You're just enforcing them
Mhm.
a little bit harsher on these athletes because we already do that for bikini. We already see that for the women's physique and bodybuilding. We see very harsh rulings because they do get very like, for instance, like Amanda had like the full package. She just needs to grow her glutes, and that cost her into third place. So it's like, hey, we could demand more of the figure athletes, and I feel like we could get better outcomes. But we also need more athletes in that division too. So
Yes.
That's the thing too, is like coming up with that, like we could enforce it, but also like how do we just get more athletes there in general, you know? Because if you go from bikini to figure, there's like at least half of the figure athletes that there is of bikini, you know? So it's again, at the amateur level, it's way more because of the rules and stuff, it's way more, I guess, doable. Is that the right way to put it? To like get into bikini than it is to get into figure, just muscle size in general. But then once you turn pro, there's like a big jump and a big gap into like, okay, if you're gonna be a pro, like you gotta fucking like work hard for it now, you know?
Yeah, and I think in bikini, um, these girls or these women, like I don't think people have, I mean, some people do have a grasp of the density that they're asking for. But I don't think a lot of people do, like unless you're in the world of bikini, because a lot of these pros that were winning pro shows 2 years ago are too small now. Like they don't even and a lot of them have come out and said they don't compete anymore because they just can't get that big. Like, and they don't really want to. Um, and it's even to the point now where you're not going to be a competitive pro in bikini unless you're taking quite a bit of drugs. That's just the case. Like you see the natural shows and it's like not even close. Like the girl that wins a natural pro show is not even getting a first or second call out at the Olympia at all. Like it's not even in the same ballpark anymore. Whereas maybe 5 years ago, there was some like Lana Dunbar when I don't know if she's still natural, but she could stand up there with them. No, like it's just the look is just different. It almost reminds me of like the FMG fitness girls, but without all the stuff, like all the Carolyn, you know what I'm talking about? Like without all the cool food. But that density where it's like bikini 5 years ago, between that bikini and figure, that's where bikini is now. Which is fine. Like, honestly, I'm fine with it because I love that look, but it's very hard to get to. And then women are already dropping down from bikini because of that. And then figure is just another whole echelon above that. So it's almost becomes like very out of the question unless you're one of those females that's just like, I'm in it, virilization be damned, I'm going. Unless you have insane genetics for tolerating drugs. Like if you want to do figure and do well, like you're going to have some side effects. Like that's just, you're going to have them in bikini. Like a lot of bikini pros are very virilized. So I think it's just that leap is really tough for a lot of women. And I know girls that love the figure division. Like I've even had clients that are like, I love figure. I don't want to take all those drugs. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Or take 10 years to get to that point on like less drugs,
It's gonna take me 10 years to get in bikini with drugs.
Yeah. And then also the fact of where are we going to be 10 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, look at the freaking division. Like, okay, when I started following bodybuilding, this was like 10 years ago, right? So in 10 years, oh, look, there's Dan.
Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Dan.
You
Hi,
all
Dan.
podcast.
Oh, I know. I'm just like, it's just my cameo.
Single entrance.
uh, but no, like, oh, and there's Enzo.
The baby.
Look at the baby.
He just had his exercise, so he's a hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, like 10 years ago, when I got into this, I followed Dana Lynn Bailey and like Nicole Wilkins. And at the time, Nicole Wilkins was the reigning Miss Olympia. I think she had won like 6 overall, I think, Olympia titles. But if you look at Nicole Wilkins compared to the now, she wouldn't even come close. Like she didn't have any, no, she didn't have any sort of quad lines, nothing. And that was 10 years, just in 10 years. And then if you look at, who else did I say? Oh, Dana Lynn Bailey. She probably wouldn't even get her pro card as a figure athlete. And she was the first Miss Olympia for women's physique. And like, she's so small now. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen her. I've seen her in person now and she's like, not shorter than me, but almost like smaller than me. And I'm like, damn, like that really changed a lot. Granted, she's not competing anymore, so it's different. But yeah, it's just crazy how it evolves in just like this amount of time, let alone even wellness in the last 4 years or so has evolved. Because that's what the newest division besides Fit Model now. So yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting because a lot of people are like, bikini's just going to get bigger and harder. And I was like, I don't think it is. I think it's just the women that have been in the division competing year after year, they're just going to continue to kind of develop that muscle maturity. Like look at Jazzy's glute development over the last year or two has been, I think there's like, I don't know, a very, very, very small handful of bikini pros that when you're listening to the recaps that Tyler makes, he tells them all they need more upper outer glute. Pretty much all of them, except for like Jazzy, Laura Lee, maybe Ashlyn. I don't think he
I was
tells
gonna say
to get more
Ashlyn.
muscle.
Marissa.
There's like the top, like, and then Amy Delgado, like there's like the top, like the first call at the Olympia have enough glute density for the most part, except for like maybe for them, it's more like a peaking thing, like where the glutes
Mhm.
flat. But pretty much every other pro show, he's like, we want to see a little bit more upper glute. I'm like, fuck, like, and these pros, like I see them, and I've seen them in person, a lot of them, and I'm like, her glutes were huge. You know what I mean? It's just not even the glutes, it's the leg development, the shoulder development. Like you see them in person. And it is like very humbling in a good way. But because, like I said, I love the look of the bikini division now. Like, I'm glad it got a little bit more muscular because
I do
that
too. Mhm.
I kind of want that. Like, I hope my body will let me get there, but I love it. Like, I love how it looks. But
I
I also,
love that it's like more athletic and kind of like
yeah,
bubbly. Like they do still have a little shoulder. Like they have like the glutes that pop. Like it just looks a little more athletic versus like I guess what fit model is. I don't want to say this in a bad, but it just looks like frail.
yeah, like,
You know?
and it's funny because a lot of the girls that are winning their pro cards in fit model been trying to turn pro in bikini for like 6 years and just weren't quite. So it's like these girls did not just step into a gym for a few minutes and then like they turn fit model. Like most of these girls were like, they just didn't quite have the size for bikini, came in a
They're
little.
just naturally really petite.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
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 It's
I
also
agree
one
with
of those
that.
things, like, I remember talking to Jazzy about this a while ago, and she was like, yeah, the only thing is when you're in bikini, you do have a ceiling, though. Even for the top pro athletes, is that they do have a ceiling where it's only tiny modifications, but the thing is, their version of tiny modifications is almost like body dysmorphia. It's like when you see, like you said, with seeing Ashlyn's glutes, like live in person, it's ridiculous. And then you're like, how am I going to get from here to like where Ashlyn is? But the truth is that Jazzy has made that loop. You know, she's made that stride in her career. But
Mhm.
truthfully, like when you look at it from a day-to-day perspective, it seems like it's very, very minor changes too.
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
even Jazzy, like, 4 years ago, she's always had great glutes. Like she's always placed very well. She's always been a contender to win a pro show. But I would say the last 2 years, she's made a pretty significant jump in her density and how her muscle sits on her body. And I think for bikini, it's like she grew just those areas and her upper body stayed the same. Legs came up a tiny bit, but it was mainly like, damn, that glute density just made like she leveled up big time. And it just makes such a difference in her overall look. Cause you look at it from a few years ago, she's a little bit more balanced top to bottom, just a little bit smaller. And it's crazy. Like I think sure her stage weight, she's like 7 or 8 pounds heavier
Damn.
with the same condition. I mean that, and literally
That's
that's all in
crazy.
her lower body.
Mhm. I love where this drifted off to, from my question. So I'm glad that I asked that question. It was
What
great.
was your original question?
Is it harder to turn pro for
Oh, yeah.
guys than girls?
I would say in open, yes. In the other
Yes.
divisions, not necessarily. I'd say it's probably similar.
Mhm.
Also, I do want to say too, the difference between men and women is that their careers are shorter than women's because of the drug use with men.
Mhm.
So men and women may have an equally hard time becoming pro, but the lifespan of the person's career could very much dictate on their drug usage and how good is their health. Also, genetics.
Yep.
Genetics is the key factor in all of this, both
Oh
for
yeah.
men and women, on how well and also how long are you going to be doing this for.
Mhm. When
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, like as much as everyone hates to say it, but like genetics is the determining factor. Like, you can only push so hard and do so much, but like ultimately like your genetics are going to dictate your ceiling in how much muscle you can gain, how many times you can prep, how much your body can handle it, you know, how much stress you can handle, like all of that. Like it's going to be, yeah, there's a lot to it. So just enjoy it. Don't try to put so many like expectations on yourself, except for to just be the best that you can be. And like, that's all you can do. Like, that's kind of what I've realized now. Like, going into my first pro season, I was like, I have to like make it to the Olympia, you know, because now there's like more pressure. And then I got fourth callouts, and then I was like, oh, well, got this little humble pie given to me. And I'm just like, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to compete to be my best. And if that means I'm going to beat somebody, that's great. And if not, I'm going to make them work hard for it. That's all.
What
That's
else
it.
are we gonna do anyway?
Yeah. I'm just going to do the same thing like the next day. I'm going to go back to training no matter what. Like, even when I'm done competing ever, I'm gonna train. I might be a little more like flexible in what I do and like, oh yeah, deadlifts sound fun today. Like, you know, but other than that, like I'm still gonna train, you know. So
Imagine not working towards a competition at some point. Like, I mean, we all know I don't compete every year. But every single time I go into the gym, like the next time I step on stage is like at the forefront of my mind. Like every single thing I'm doing
mhm.
is to be better on that stage next time. I just can't imagine. Like, thank God they have masters bikini. It masters everything. Thank God. Cause I'm like, I can't imagine just like not having that to like work towards, you know what I mean? Like I would still love training, but it was just, I've just, I
It
don't
would
know.
feel more like a chore.
It would just like, it'd be a little less purposeful, I feel like. Cause I trained cause I love it. You know what I mean? Like I fell in love with training before I even really understood competitions. But it was just kind of like, I'm very competitive and I love competing. So it's just kind of a way for me to have that outlet within something I already love.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it gives me the perspective on where I'm going with my training versus just like going in. It's not just like a stress relief. It's like a very, very clear intention that I set for every training session. Um, like if I don't have the right engagement or contraction in the areas I'm looking for, like I'm like hyper analyzing, like what am I, do I need to study to do this? Like I think with this, like I only have 2 years to grow, which a year and a half by the time I start another prep. That's not very long in my mind. Like it's gonna go by like this. And so I'm like, I have to make the most of, I'm like, I have this many workouts before my next prep starts. And so I have to make the most of it.
Mhm.
Right. Because our off-season time is really short. It's a very short time period. And so you always should have something that you are looking forward to, looking forward even before, like you said, like even before we knew about competing, we knew the ultimate goal was to continue improving our body and our improving our body composition. And so that was our own competition in our mind. And then we found out about competing and we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then once
Exactly.
you have that feedback, you're like, okay, I know what to do now. And then it just keeps cycling after that.
Exactly.
The
Hey, Dan.
one thing that I constantly remember is from my very first show in 2015. I had a judge tell me at the end of the show, and this was a show where I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, this just sounds like a good challenge. I like challenge myself, blah, 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 all that. And this judge came up to me and he was like, if you got a little bit leaner, you'd be dangerous. And the whole like, you'd be dangerous just like fires me up. And this was from 10 years ago. And I still think about that and I still remember it. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, you know, and like I'm small, like you guys know, like for all you guys that don't know, I'm 4'9". I'm like 124 pounds right now in off season. Like there's women that are 155 on stage. Like I'm freaking tiny. And so I take it as like a personal challenge to myself to be like, I'm gonna be the smallest one up there, but fucking watch out. Like, and I've always taken that mindset with me of like kind of like underdog mentality kind of thing. But it's just it's so much fun for me. And like, that's for me is the challenge, is that part of it. And just the like, watch what I can do. And like, because people at the grocery store, do you need help with that? Oh, do you need help carrying your groceries out? No, I don't need no fucking help. Like, do you see like my arms? Like, I've had women come up to me at the grocery store and be like, oh my God, can I touch your arms? And like, they'll just touch me. And I'm like, excuse me,
No.
my bubble, please stay out.
Oh my God, that's
Don't like
really,
that. So, yeah. Competing will always be there. There'll be always some sort of competition, whether it's just with myself or on stage. Like, I won't compete forever. Like, I don't plan on it, you know, I'll stop at some point, but I will always, always, always train, and there will always be some sort of like challenge in my head of some sort.
can we talk about something also?
Mhm.
Carolyn smiles. She's like,
Ooh.
Tea. Hi, Dan.
okay. So Dan and I have talked about this off and on. If you are going to compete in a national level show, I'm not talking about true novices doing a local show that are completely new. If you are going to a national level show and you have not educated yourself on the criteria of the division you're competing in, and here's the thing, if you have eyes, you should know what the standard is for your division. Like, I am so tired, and coaches will do this too. They're like, road to pro, hyping up their client. And I'm like, your client's third call out. Like, and it's not a knock on them. They maybe don't know, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to say this as nicely as I can. How the living fuck are you looking at girls that are turning pro in your division, or looking at pros on stage, and then you look at your physique and you're like, yeah, I'm there. Like, the conditioning is not there, the presentation is not there, the muscle density is not there. Like, I see it a lot, and I'm like, are you just like completely not following your division? Are you just not follow? And it pisses me off, because then they're like, they don't do well at all. And it's not because their physique is shit, it's just they're just not ready. Like,
Because the judges just overlooked them.
I was just overlooked. It's fine.
I was just overlooked. And I'm like, I will even see coaches send their people to a national level show, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Now, if a client is like, I know I'm not going to place, I just want to go and have fun. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
totally fine.
But they will just like,
Expectations are different.
It's expensive, have fun. But
I
whatever.
seriously, yeah, really like,
I'm
why?
like, yeah.
But it's just like and then they hype the shit out of their regional show that they won. And I'm just like, girl or guy, whoever it is. And I'm like, it makes you look bad if you're on social media and you're posting your physique thinking like you have a shot at a pro card, and it's not even close. And it's like, again, this isn't because your physique is shit and fun. No, it's just, you're not ready. And if you think you're like, you need to go watch pro shows. Like, every single person, I don't know how much more I can say this. If you've never heard of the top pros in your class, if you're not watching all of Tyler Mannion's recaps, if you're not doing all of this, what the fuck are you doing? This is your responsibility. Like, I think nowadays, like I heard on a podcast, like the reliance on coaches, like, nope, I just do what I'm told. No, like, you need to learn about your sport and your division and what's expected, so that way you can have good expectations. And that way it's not all on the coach to be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the coach would never make a poor decision and like guide you away you shouldn't be going.
But
But
unfortunately, that happens because coaches also want to get people on stage to be like, I got so and so an overall at this little tiny regional show that there was 3 competitors at, like, and then boast about that and post it in their bio and all this kind of bullshit and stuff. And it's sad, but there are coaches that do that, like, or that just get people on stage to get them to compete, and like they do okay, or be like, oh, I've had, oh, this is my favorite, when people post in their bio 3 times nationally qualified, and I'm just like, yeah, but that doesn't mean shit. Like, That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. There's how many fucking regional shows, like you need to like actually like do something to like make a difference about it. Like it's just it's appalling with coaches that will do that, but at the same time, like if you're gonna go to a national show and expect to at some point turn pro, you need to follow your division and understand what the pros look like. Like I have clients, obviously, and we've all done it too, where we compare ourselves to pros. Like, you know, even before I turned pro, I was doing that, you know, because I'm like, okay, well, this is the level I have to be at. Like, you should be doing that. If you're just totally blind to it, you're, I feel like, purposefully being ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's obviously an extreme to this where you're like, if I'm not the same physique as Ashlyn or Jazzy, I shouldn't even step on a stage. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's levels
No.
to this and there's benchmarks, right? Just like, you know, you might go to a national show and be like, okay, my goal is to get top 10. Okay, awesome. Like you want to see how you stand next to those other girls. And then your next one is like, okay, I want to get top 5. I want to get a first call out. Like there's, but I'm talking about the people that are like, I'm gonna like acting like they're gonna get their pro card. Not people that are just like, this is my first show. I just want to get up there and get feedback. I think we're kind of in the ballpark of where we should be. I'd like to get a top 10. You know what I mean? Like that is totally fair to do. I did that.
Mhm.
And then I got better and got my benchmarks and have moved up the ladder every time.
Mhm.
But I've
Well,
never once gone in and be like, road to, like, I'm turning pro.
I
And I'm,
never once used that hashtag ever.
and even if you do, like,
Um,
fine, but it's just, I just don't understand how you can have eyeballs and you're looking at your physique and you're looking at physiques that turn pro and you're like, yes. It's like,
This is me.
what the fuck? And
Oh,
then
it's just,
are you
it's
even looking?
hilarious.
Are
Like,
you even looking? Like, well, I don't want to compare myself. You should compare yourself. You're getting compared up there. Not to the point where you're like self-hatred and loathing and like, I'll never do it, but you should compare yourself because guess what? That's all that's happening when you're up there. You should compare yourself to enough to understand where you're at in the pack. It
mhm,
doesn't mean you're not going to get there. It doesn't mean that you suck. It just means you're not there yet.
mhm.
Like, am I crazy here or what?
You're definitely not crazy. I agree with that. Like I can say like I've been there before, like not to necessarily to that extreme, but like my pro debut, for example, I was like, I'm gonna follow what my coach says. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna trust in my coach, you know, but at the same time, like I have eyeballs. I kind of noticed something was up at like 10 weeks out, and I was like, hey, can we add another training day? I was training 4 days a week, have you, while using PEDs. So like I could have handled another training day. But instead he was like, oh no, we're just gonna do more cardio because I don't want you to get too stressed. But guess what? By the end, I was doing 2 hours of cardio and eating protein veggie days, trying to catch up and everything. And then I still wasn't ready in time. And I should have, you know, recognized it sooner, but I was just so enthralled with like, I'm going to trust the process and I'm going to trust in my coach. I have the trust in my coach that he's going to get me where I need to be. And it didn't happen. And then that kind of was like a big wake up call to be like, oh, I noticed things. I was right. Like I should say something next time, you know, instead of kind of blindly, in a sense, following all of that, you know? So it's responsibility on both parties of like yourself as the athlete and your coach. Like it's also your responsibility as an athlete to be like, pick the shows that you want to do, but at the same, like, you know, and talk to your coach about it. But, you know, don't just leave it up to your coach to be like, yeah, we're just gonna do this show and this show and blah, blah, blah. But like, if you're not ready in enough time or like you're trying to compete too soon, your coach should be like, hey, we should probably wait a year, you know? Because I've had to do that with a lot of girls because that want to compete. I have a lot of young competitors and they just want to get on stage. They don't understand the process. So it's my responsibility as a coach and as an athlete, a fellow athlete, to be like, hey, if you have this goal of like, I want to do well at a show, not just I want to get on stage for a bucket list item, we should take some time to do this. You know, you're going to get way more out of it. It's going to be more enjoyable. You're going to get the placing that you want, kind of thing. It's going to give me more time to understand your body and things like that. So the responsibility is on both. Like you just really need to find a coach that cares and that is responsible enough to do that. And just be a responsible adult and take an L if you need to, you know?
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree. And that's why I think sometimes, because there's even local coaches that are coaching their clients and they're like, gunning for that pro card. And I'm like, no, like they look awesome, but we're not there yet. Like,
Yeah.
wait, like it's, and here's the thing, I am,
Hopefully they look awesome.
yeah, like I am by no means like some high level Olympia coach, but I'm like, because I even had someone tell me like, they asked like, what do you think about so and so? Like they're going to a national show, and I'm like, second call out, maybe. Like, oh, the coach is saying, but like they're gonna have a shot at a pro card, and I'm like, that's not accurate. Like, I think they look great and they're well on their way, but we're a few years out from there. Um, go to the show, got second call outs, and the person was like, yeah, like the client was a little bit concerned that like I was even able to point that out. And I'm not like, and their coach, who's supposed to be very experienced in guiding them, was thinking they were ready for a pro card. It's like, I'm like, yeah, no, I know. Like, I think if you wanted to say, like, let's just go get you on national stage, get you feedback from Tyler or Sandy or Steve or whoever. I don't think Steve judges national shows, actually, never mind. But like one of the Olympia head judges. Then by all means, like if that's the expectation, great. Because then you're kind of setting your client up for bad experience. Because if they're expecting like, oh, I'm expecting to have a shot at a pro card and they get 14th out of 17, they're gonna feel horrible about that. They're gonna, and versus if you tell them like, hey, this is your first national show, we just want to get feedback. We need more size, we need more this, we need more that. But let's just get you up there. And then they're gonna go into it being like, no pressure, let me just go have some fun if that's why they want to go. Let me just get some feedback versus if they're being told, oh, let's like get a top 3 or whatever, it's like it's doing them a huge disservice.
Yep.
And they're going to walk away from that feeling really shitty about themselves when they did nothing wrong. They just need more time.
I agree with that. And like, I feel like, I mean, we had that exact situation with 2 of our athletes this year. Like, we had one girl who turned pro, she won her class at USA's. And I knew from the get go, like, she had a really good chance. I was like, if we get her legs to come in. And we did. And she won her class, and it was great. The other person was a guy in classic. And I was like, I've watched classic, at a national level. I don't really know where you're going to be at, but like, let's go. Let's just see what happens. Like, this is your first time. Like, you have the density. He won an overall. He won top 2 at a bigger regional show. So we were like, okay, like we are at this level where we can see kind of where we stand.
Yep.
He got 3rd call outs in a group of 27. Like, that's huge, so that we knew, we were like, okay, like we did our best. And like, he was happy with it too. Like, he was totally realistic about his results and outcome. And we're just like, all right, we know what we got to work on, like back to the drawing board, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So just having realistic expectations is really important.
Oh yeah. And I think in the scenario of men, it's especially in classic, like, holy shit, like that division, it's got to be the most competitive men that, I mean,
I
classic
was
and
just
men,
gonna say that.
just numbers wise. It's so fucking hard. And they're like the guys in the 3rd call out at national level shows are fucking great. They're just probably either too small, or missing some of a body part because classic is so like shape is
Yep.
king in that
That's
division.
100% what it was. His lats didn't come out far enough. And it was like, as soon as that was gone, it was like, oh, you're out.
Well, and in classic, especially, like you can have guys that are peeled out of their mind and have enough muscle, and if the shape's not right, they're just not
Yep.
gonna get it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because and with the posing, you can't hide, like you're exposed in the quarter turns versus
Yep.
like men's physique, you can twist and turn.
Yep.
And you're only hitting 2 poses, just like what you are with bikini. So bikini, more body types can fit into it because of that.
Mhm.
Versus classic, like you hit that, you hit the front or the back, and you're like, if you're missing a
Front
body
double
part,
and back double will expose
you
a
see
lot.
it. yeah, you see it immediately. So, you know, some guys, it's not even that, it's like, there's really nothing they can do probably to get that, or it's just time. It's one or the other.
Mhm.
And I think in the men's divisions, there's some time there, but I mean, there's also guys that you see up there that you're like, ooh, like, yeah, like we're not, like you need like 20 more pounds of muscle.
Mhm.
Well, at least
Mhm.
with the men's divisions, like with that, like if you're 30 pounds off your weight cap, like maybe.
But rarely do we ever see that. But also at the same time, it's like, yep, the expectations are still there across the board for every division, where it's just you just have to come in conditioned and you have to learn the criteria or else you will stand
Mhm.
out. And even if, they just want to try it and see if they like it, well, probably do your homework before you go to the show and really work on your posing because you can really dial in your diet. A lot of people do great their first show, but their posing is always what usually suffers because they simply are just new to all of this. So if you
Mhm.
start early on that, as soon as you know you want to compete, I'm very thankful that I did that. As soon as I wanted to compete, I just started learning how to pose. And then that
Mhm.
really saved me by the time, because once you get on stage, the first class is always like super shaky and you feel like you're walking on water. But then after that first class, you're fine. It's
Mhm.
just getting those little nerves out initially, and then you can just keep on moving forward and realize it's really not that bad. Being in a loincloth on stage, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
100%. I have to jet to go meet my dad for dinner, but you guys keep going. I love you so, so much.
Yes, I love you.
Okay. Love you.
Love
Bye. Tell your dad
Enjoy.
we said hi.
Bye.
I will. Bye.
Bye. I was gonna say to that point too, is like about being ready,
Mhm.
we had a girl that actually won the wellness overall at her first show this year. And like at this show, you also, when you win that, you get your national show registration paid for. That's one of their prizes, which is great. It's an amazing prize. And I told her straight up, I was like, I'm proud of you for winning. You're not ready for nationals yet. And she knew it too. She was like, yeah, it'd be great to go. She's like, but I'm not ready for this. I told her, I was like, you're still too small. Like, you still need, like, if you went up against people, wellness girls at a national level, you'd be annihilated. Like, I'm just putting that bluntly, but lightly. Like, you're going to be disappointed. So, like, let's just go into off season, take the time to grow. I was like, you won one overall. You can come back and win another one. Like, it's okay. Like, so even if you win an overall, you may not be ready for national level stage. Like, and this is why like comparing yourself to the national show winners and stuff and pro athletes is very important to be like, where am I at in my physique? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
just super important. Like, there's so many scenarios we could go through, but it's just like, it's crazy.
But also really good on that athlete for recognize, being realistic.
Mhm.
Because I was definitely butthurt, as soon as I was told like, "Hey, don't do the national stage." But at the same time, I'm very first off glad that I didn't do it. Of course, I wanted to continue on because I feel like I
Yeah.
wanted more experience. It was only my first season. But at the same time, it's like, why spend the money? And then also, why put yourself prolonging a diet when you're
Mhm.
not going to be making any improvements? You may end up just looking worse.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's so situational, but I'm really proud of both you and her for having that hard conversation, being like, hey, let's go into an off season. Let's start now to make those improvements so you can do a national season the next time that you are ready.
Mhm.
So that's always definitely very hard, to have that conversation, but it's
Yep.
from a good place. It's not because like we don't love you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I told her. And like we're pretty close as it is. Like, we've become pretty close. Like, she lives here in Fargo.
Okay.
So like I've known her and like she's coached with me for like a year and stuff, me and Tyler both. And so I just was like, I have your best interest in mind. And like that's like one thing that like we really pride ourselves on as coaches is like, I'm not here to get people on stage just for like numbers. Like, in our business, you are not just a number. We are here to make sure that you enjoy your time, you get to your best potential. We push you, we challenge you, but we also make sure that you have longevity in the sport because you would not believe how many coaches, and like, this is like, okay, I'm not trying to like sound negative or like dig on coaches, but like, as a coach, it is your responsibility to make sure that your athlete's health is in order. Like, that is your responsibility. That's what they come to you for. They also want to win, of course, but at the same time, like, you are responsible for their health. Like, you take this on, you need to be responsible. Whether that means you tell them to go get lab work and take it to your doctor or an HRT clinic or something if you don't know how to read labs, but you need to do that because we just picked up a women's physique pro. So she's a pro already. She's been a pro. She was with a high level coach, like he's got Olympians, and she said that he had never once looked at her hormone levels. And she had thyroid cancer, has her whole thyroid removed, partial hysterectomy. He just put her on Primo in her off season, and like that was it. And I was like, never like just a testosterone base or anything. And she's like, nope, he never looked at it. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. And she's like, yeah. So first thing we did was get lab work. And lo and behold, needs testosterone. Like, because even taking like Primo is not going to make your testosterone go up.
Right.
Primo is not testosterone. It's a derivative of that.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I'm not shocked. But at the same time, it's just sad because it's like stories like that are always going to be around no matter
Mhm.
what. No matter
Mhm.
how much like I would say like 2020 was the big rise when people started taking their lab work seriously. But
Yep.
at the same time, there's still a lot of people who don't see the importance of it. And so that's why it's continuing like whenever you do get coaching, just ensure that the coach is asking for lab work or even just they don't have to understand the lab work. They just want to know how are your internal health markers? How are
Mhm.
they? Do you have a trusted doctor that works on your labs or have you had that done recently? Because that's definitely, a key factor in the overall physique look because you're not going to make progress unless your internal health markers are in check too. Um,
Yep.
so really like, the coach doesn't have to be a know-it-all about, hormones and dieting and all that
No.
stuff. They really don't have to be. They just have to make sure that there is a professional among the team that understands these things and knows how to deal with them properly. Especially if
Yep.
someone's had cancers before, like that's a very sensitive issue. So it's definitely, where the coach has to drop the ego and make sure that there are professionals looking after their athlete.
100%. And I've seen it go the other way too, where like coaches take too much responsibility into lab work and be like, I know everything. And like their ego is too big to be like, I don't know what I'm understanding, or like, oh yeah, I know the problem, or like you have this, and it's like as a coach, you cannot diagnose people. You are not a medical doctor. You cannot do that.
Right.
You can say these labs and your symptoms are indicative of PCOS. You should take this to your doctor and go have them check it.
Yeah.
That's what you can say as a coach. You cannot diagnose things. You cannot tell people to stop taking a prescribed medication. You know, it's crazy. Like I look at it as like my job is to educate and inform people of the options that they have and what everything does. For example, like birth control. Super simple one. Like so many girls are on it and like it's a very easily prescribed medication. Like it's given out like candy in my opinion. In my opinion is that there's too much birth control. At the same time, I'm going to inform women and educate them on what birth control actually does, especially as a competitor, because I'm going to be like, if you want to grow muscle, you should, I mean, this is what birth control does. It puts you in an estrogen dominant state. If you want to grow muscle, you need to have less estrogen. Like it just is what it is. But I'm like, it is your choice to come off of that. If you want to come off, I can help you with that. We're not going to stop at cold turkey because we're going to make sure that we do this the proper way. But at the same time, I tell them once and that's it. And then they come to me and be like, hey, Kayla, I think I want to come off of my birth control now. I've had that many times. I've also had plenty of girls that stay on birth control or have a different form of it. And we work through that and like with competing and everything. And it's fine. Like we can work around that too. Like I just tell them like and inform them like here's your options. Like you can also do a non-hormonal copper IUD, and that is also fine too, you know, if you want to do that.
Right. No, it's all these things that are very situational, but it's also very important questions to ask, especially like when we have these conversations with athletes, whether it can be as simple as like that one girl who came to you in the gym and was like, how easy is it, to go pro? And it's like, well, it's complicated. So, and it's one of the blessings in this sport, but then also kind of a curse at the same time is where, not any question is as simple as it is to answer, whether it's from training or hormones or what, birth control options are there out there, for a particular person that's so individual. So that's why it's, important to have the conversations like this.
100%. And like we could take forever. Maybe we'll save this for another day of like going through like red flags with like coaches and stuff of like,
Mhm.
I've seen it happen where people just are like, hey, reach on Instagram. You're a top level coach. Will you coach me? And then the coach is like, yep, sure. Pay through this link. And like they ask you no other questions. I've seen that happen.
Yeah, that
Like,
happens pretty often, especially if they're an influencer. You know,
ugh.
it must be nice.
It's sad.
It's really
But
sad.
there are so many ways that like coaching has gotten like a bad name and a bad rap in the industry, and it's, it's such a broad range of like abilities and stuff too, and types of coaches out there that like it's hard to like regulate it, for example. So, you know, it's the coach's responsibility to know what's within your scope, what is okay, what you are knowledgeable in, and if you are not knowledgeable on something, it's okay to say, I don't know. Let me find out for you. Your
Mhm.
client will probably appreciate that more. I've had many times where I've been like, you know what, I'm going to consult so and so, or I have a person that might know more about this. And I've asked questions to my mentor, other people that I know, like just with questions about like, I'm having this problem. I've tried this, and this. Where am I missing something? It's so easy to do that. And like, I feel like for the most part, all of us coaches in the industry are totally willing to help each other because there's plenty of clients to go around. Like, no one's going to have a shortage of clients. It just is what it is. And like, it's been really cool too, as a coach myself, like looking up to mentors and now also having clients that have become coaches themselves too because they had such a good experience. And I'm like, that makes me feel really good to pass on. And like, I just always live by like what Dave Tate says is live, learn, pass on. Like that is always been something that's really important to me. So, yeah.
And I'm thankful that we have been in this long enough now that we do have our own little binder in our mind of like,
Mhm.
oh, if I do have a question, I know exactly who to go to. And those are the people that I have had really good experiences in my own personal journey, that it's something that they would be willing to help me on and not
Mhm.
disregard. But it's like knowing who you can go to in your circle are going to be essential, not only in our own coaching, but then also ensuring our clients do get the most proper care that they can have.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times I've also run into cases where you truly don't know, but I think that's also where you do have to go back to the client and being like, hey, I do not know. So then I contacted XYZ and I do not know, but this is my solution that I think you should do, of
Mhm.
like whether to go back to your doctor, for instance, or say get a personal trainer in your gym. Like if there's a particular movement based on a past injury, that's always something that can be extremely helpful is like, hey, looking at your gym, I think this person may be your best option to have an in person. If, say, for instance, like if your girl was not in Fargo and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to get her to the national stage. Well, I know a gym that may be able to do personal training for you in your area, because our network is a lot tighter than people think. So I'm very blessed that I do have DMV Iron, where, like for instance, Nick, he is the best personal trainer that I know in my area. So I can always be like, hey, I really think you could be better in your movements if you worked with Nick.
Mhm.
So that's just one example. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we could definitely go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like as a coach, like you just can't do it all yourself. Like
You can't.
you're here, your job as a coach is to help support and give recommendations on meals, training, and supplements, right? So you should be knowledgeable in your practice and how the body works and stuff like that. But there are things that are beyond your scope. There's been times where I've even like referred clients out to another coach because I'm like, I've tried this and this and this, and I'm like, I just don't understand. I'm like, you know what? Your well-being is more important to me. I'm gonna refer you to this person because they're really specialized in like this type of issue.
Exactly.
You know, because we also can't learn unless we try. But if you come at from the right place with it and be like, you know, I've never dealt with this problem that you're having, but I have a pretty good idea. And if you're willing, like, I would love to work with you on it because that's essentially what coaching is a relationship. So it's like, as long as you're upfront about it and don't like make it seem like, oh yeah, I've done that like tons of times. I've worked with like people with XYZ issue all the time. And like, you never have, like, that's kind of like leading people on. Like, that's kind of sleazy. But if you're upfront about it and like, you know, haven't worked with someone like you before, but I've done my research, you know, I'm willing to try it. If you're willing to work with me, I'll give you a discount kind of a thing because you're my first person I've dealt with this. You know, and just, you know, make them pay you for your time kind of a thing. Like that's how we learn, you know, and that's how we kind of actually like get into our niches too. It's just like our own experiences, but also working with new types of people too. You just have to be upfront about it.
Right, exactly. And I think, every new client would also appreciate kind of knowing that they're a special case because, again, it makes them feel kind of special in some sort of
Hmm.
way. So it's like, hey, if we can offer that to somebody, giving them the opportunity to being like, hey, we're going to try this out and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen or what the result may be, but hey, willing to give it a try. That's always something that someone can appreciate if they're willing to continue moving forward and signing up with you for that particular reason.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So we'll see.
Exactly. So,
I know.
how's everything else going for you? We didn't get to go through like how your week was and everything.
No, I didn't get to hear how your trip was, your vacation.
Oh, it was so much fun. We were at the cabin for like a whole week, so like Saturday to a Saturday, which was phenomenal. I didn't do any work. I didn't go on social media hardly at all. I didn't post anything, and it was wonderful. I read an entire book. I sat by the lake, and it was great. I had s'mores. I didn't track a damn thing, but I also wasn't an asshole. Um, I had some French toast for breakfast one day.
Nice.
It's great.
That's a good vacation. Yeah,
Mhm.
everything just like letting loose, letting yourself relax, read your books, and be with your family.
Mhm.
Oh, I love
If
that.
anyone needs a good book recommendation, The Housemaid.
Is that nonfiction or is it fantasy? What is it?
No, it's like a mystery thriller.
Ooh, I could use that because everyone wants to give me fairy books, and I'm like, no. I tried with the Court of Thorn and Roses, and I cannot get into it. I really tried. I really tried.
That one, I liked it,
Mhm.
but I honestly liked fucking Fourth Wing series
Right. I could
10
see
times
that.
better.
Yeah,
10
I
times
listened to
better.
the
I couldn't put it
audiobook.
down.
It was tough, but I got through it.
Yeah, if you want to mix it up a little bit, The Housemaid was really good.
Okay.
Really anything by Lisa Jewell. Her first book I read of hers was called Then She Was Gone.
Okay.
And then the second one, I just finished that one before The Housemaid. That one was None of This Is Real.
This is real. Okay. And they're
And
all
they're
also like
very like
thriller.
twisty, turny type books. And you're like, at the end, you're like, what the fuck?
Because I love Dean Koontz. He's one of my favorite like murder mystery
Okay.
writers, and yeah, he's incredible. So if we're down that rabbit hole, I would love to explore that one a little bit more too.
Okay. Have you ever read any of the Colleen Hoover books?
It ends with us. No, I actually haven't. I did watch the movie though. So it did intrigue me to like maybe read the books.
The books are good,
Mm-hmm.
but for a love story, yes. But read one of her other books. It's called Verity.
Verity. Okay.
That one is like, whoa, what? And even at the end, you're still
Yeah.
like, I don't even know what was real. Like, there's just like so many ways it can go. That was one of my favorite books ever. Verity,
Oh,
so good.
okay. That says a lot if it ends up being one of your favorite books.
There was like love in it, and there was like mystery and like thriller. And like, I was sitting like, if I could have watched that as a movie, I would have been like this the entire time. Been like, oh my
And it's funny because like you mentioned movies, because that's why I haven't caught up on books in so long, is been going down the classics
Mm.
rap like of classic movies. At first it was very much like the Italian mafia movies. I went down, Godfather to Casino, and then went to what happens after that? It was like more Americana movies. It became and then more modern comedies. So it was watched Birdcage, for instance, with Robin Williams. Did you ever see Birdcage?
I don't think so. I don't ever saw that one.
That's a good one. It's very
I
unexpected.
love Robin Williams.
Yes, and I was surprised too because I was like, I love Robin Williams. I've seen like Good Will Hunting. I've seen Law and Order episodes. I've seen like every little piece that man has been in. But I
Mhm.
realized I had never seen one of his early starts was Birdcage. So I
Hmm.
would definitely recommend that one. I think Tyler would
One
find
of my favorite movies of his,
uh-huh.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, absolutely. That's a classic. Mrs.
So
Doubtfire.
good.
If you loved Mrs. Doubtfire and then also just knowing Birdcage, I think Tyler would find it hilarious. So I'll send you the link for it. I won't share it here, but on where to find it. But then also, what was the other? And then I hadn't seen this in a really long time, but then rewatched Beverly Hills Cop, and then watched
Oh,
Beverly Hills Cop 2. It wasn't as good, but fun little action scenes like here and there, and a lot of like Easter eggs from the original. So that's always good.
have you ever watched Beverly Hills Ninja
Okay, it was on the list like when you're searching for it,
with
and I was
Chris
like,
Farley?
yeah, with Chris Farley, and I was like, I'm gonna like add that to the list too because it like popped up as I'm like searching for it, and I was like, I
So
remember
good.
hearing about that movie too.
So good. It was like as a kid, I watched that movie as a kid and I loved it. Like I remember watching that so many times because it was just funny.
90s film.
Um,
Yeah, or was it
but yeah,
because Beverly Hills Cop was 1983, and then 87 was when they made the second one.
okay.
But that's like
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, like in his 20s, like super early on. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
what?
Mhm.
But that was like what made him big. And then there was also a couple other really famous 90s actors that later went big after that. For instance, he plays the stepfather Ian in A Christmas Story with Tim Allen. He wears like the ugly sweater, but he's one of the detectives in Beverly Hills Cop, and then he became
Mhm.
after that movie. He always still plays that kind of like awkward, funny, like comedic relief side actor. But yeah, I'm currently going down the classic movie rabbit holes right now.
We got the girls. We started watching Harry Potter with them and
Oh,
I'm so
first
pumped.
time seeing it.
Their first time because like they're 6. So I was like,
Yeah,
I was
that's
in
big.
first grade when I watched the first movie. So I was like, I think they could handle it.
Yes.
And they watched the first one and they liked it. Tira was a little bit like, I didn't like it so much because the cat turned into a lady. Because the cat turns into Professor McGonagall in the first movie. She's
Mhm.
like, I just want her to stay a cat. And I was like, it's because you just love cats. Like it's whatever.
Right,
But
right.
they liked it. They said in this that we watched the second one too, and she said they got a little scared about the
Scary.
basilisk, like the snake.
Yeah.
Uh, but other than that, like they didn't like wake up and have like nightmares or anything like that. They just kind of
Right.
said like, oh, it's just kind of scary. I was like, yeah, I was like, it's like it's not real, like and they're pretty good about that stuff. Like they've never really been like, there's a monster in my room, kind of thing. Like because Tyler's always like, dad can kill anything. So but they just like genuinely think that like Tyler's like the strongest dad and like that
Yeah.
Tyler like beat dinosaurs and stuff like that. Like they tell
Right.
their friends all the time that like my dad rode a dinosaur to school. It's so cute. So
That's
cute.
so
But yeah, no, they liked it. So that makes me happy. When they're a little older, we'll introduce Lord of the Rings because that is like
Yeah, we'll wait a little bit for those ones too. And especially the later Harry Potter movies, I think we should wait a little bit until they're a little bit older.
they just wouldn't understand it. I don't think,
Right.
like past like number 3, it kind of starts to just get like that's when it starts to kind of like turn dark. So
Right. Right. You can already tell by how the Warner Brothers is shown in the beginning of the trailer and how it gets darker every time.
mhm. Also rewatching those now and
Yeah.
seeing all the like the special effects from like I think the first one was released in 2001 or 2002.
Right.
The animatronics from them
Yeah.
So bad.
It's so bad.
So bad. And then I watch it now and me and Tyler are like, oh, that was so fake. Like, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Which is funny because I'd be curious to see like how the girls think of it because they have so much technology nowadays. It's like, are they gonna look at this and being like, oh, this is so old?
Kind of like how when I wanted to start watching scary movies, my mom was like, okay, well, you guys got to watch Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And like, we watched Friday the 13th, and I was like, Mom, this is so stupid. Like, and my mom was doing like, oh my God, it's so scary. And I was like,
No.
lame,
What
you
was
know?
the other one? Oh, like rewatching last Halloween was The Exorcist. Like when that one came out, and I was like, this
Yeah,
is
I still hate that movie
hilarious.
though.
But it's also like if you I don't know, watching the movie I was kind of like this is really lame, but then like if you know what happened during the filming and like what happened after the filming, that I think is scarier than
That's why I
actually
don't watch
like
that movie.
watching the film. Yeah, I watch it
Movie's like
once, but I
cursed.
don't need to see it again.
That is like a movie I don't fuck with. Like, because that was like the first ever scary movie I ever watched. I only watched like 30 minutes of it when I was like 12 at my friend's house because it
Yeah.
was just on and I was like, oh, what's this? You know? And like she was a little older and I was like, I'm gonna watch this. Like, I'm a big tough girl. And it was like the part where the girl like throws up green and then she
Thrown
like
up
goes
his
down the
son.
stairs like backwards like this. And I was like, I
Yeah.
had nightmares for like a month. I was like, and I have
Wow.
not watched that movie to the entirety to this day. And now finding out everything else that happened, I'm like, nope, not messing with that.
No, well, if you ever come here, I will be sure to take you to the Georgetown stairs.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's in the famous scene. It's like 2 seconds in the film, but everyone like loves to make a little tourism spot here and take photos of the Exorcist stairs because it's like the priest
Nice.
fall down the stairs, and so it's like it's actually a pretty steep stairwell.
Oh,
but
dang.
but yeah, it's here in DC. But no, it's definitely it was so funny earlier. I was watching Elsa, so I have this ottoman and she like curls up and in the most cutest ways. I'll send you a photo of her because it's like
Mhm.
so distracting, but like adorable. All right, I'll let you go. Had a good
Yep, I
day.
gotta go eat, and I'm sure you gotta go too. Probably almost your bedtime.
Yep. Well, gonna finish the Orioles game and then that'll be it. Woohoo.
Woo. Okay,
All
I'll
right.
talk to you later, and we'll see
Yeah.
y'all next time.
See
So
you next
have a
time.
good one.
Bye.
Bye.